and this is my epic series, Save as Soshi. The series where I teach you important terms and behavior to keep in mind while online. Let's start with the term performative. When someone is being performative, that means they're not being sincere with a certain topic, and only want to use said topic to either impress or use for personal gain, or both. The types of people who would actively exhibit performative behavior include corporations, studios, businessmen, advertisers, YouTubers, influencers, streamers, or those guys that only act like they care about women's rights just to try to get in their pants. It's unfortunate that many of these people often use marginalized groups as a marketing ploy when more often or not they could be abusing said groups behind the scenes. It's important to question things, even when it seems like those things are good, but looks can be deceiving. The behavior you see online is often only what those individuals want you to see. That does not mean there's no such thing as sincerity on the internet. No one wants to assume the worst of someone, but it's important to at least keep things in mind when online. Stay safe, and remember to save often.
Everybody, it's Soshi the Sushi Mouse again, and today's word is parasocial. A parasocial relationship is like a one-way mirror. While one person may feel a personal connection with a celebrity, content creator, game developer, or an internet personality, the other has no idea they even exist. Parasocial relationships are not inherently bad, but if kept unchecked, they can lead to harmful behavior. It's okay to enjoy the content of a creator you like. It's also appreciated when you support them through sharing their content, liking their videos, and recommending them to your friends. Winky dinky doo! But you still have to remember that these people are just like you and me. Just regular individuals who just so happen to get lucky through the algorithm and gain a following online. Parasocial relationships could become dangerous because it could get impressionable people, children, and teenagers to view these people as more than that, and thus put them on top of a pedestal, constantly running to their defense over the smallest bit of criticism, acting as if they could do no wrong, and even continuing to support problematic creators who have been exposed for doing heinous acts. There is also evidence to suggest that unchecked parasocial relationships can affect people mentally, as some may use them as a substitute for real-life relationships, which can affect one's own personal growth. It could also lead to obsessive behavior. You don't want to be that creepy fan, do you? Trust me, creators appreciate it when you support them and show your love for their work with stuff like nice comments, fan art, cosplay, and more. But you have to remember that this is a one-sided relationship, so please respect people's boundaries. Everybody, it's Save as Soshi. Today we're talking about the difference between subjective and objective. Our opinions make us the individuals that we are, but it's important to recognize what is an opinion or a fact. That's the simplest way to describe the difference. Subjective is based on your personal taste. Whether you like a video game or dislike a movie, no one can say that you're wrong because it's just your opinion. Even if it doesn't line up with the majority, that doesn't mean you're wrong. If we all saw things the same way, life would be pretty boring. However, objective is the opposite. It's based on fact. It is based on evidence, so it's no longer a matter of opinion or personal taste. When it comes to liking media and enjoying entertainment, there's no such thing as objective. You can like or even dislike any TV show, cartoon, movie, video game, comic, anime, or meme. Your taste isn't trash just because it doesn't line up with what everyone else thinks. It makes it different. This doesn't mean that there is nothing objective about media. For example, you may like a movie. That's subjective. But whether or not it did well financially, that's objective, because we have evidence such as box office numbers. For example, objectively, Minions the movie made more money than Kubo and the Two Strings, as Minions made over $1 billion, while Kubo made over $77 million. But one could still like Kubo more than Minions. That's subjective. So keep this in mind when discussing media on the internet. Instead of getting angry and trying to trash on someone's point of view, why not try to understand it? You might learn something about yourself. Hey everybody, it's Soshi the Sushi Mouse again. Last time, we talked about the difference between subjective and objective, and how it's okay to have different opinions. But do you really have to have an opinion on something? Of course, I'm referring to fictional media and entertainment. Not everything is going to appeal to you, and that's okay. And while you are still allowed to have an opinion on something that wasn't made for you, you should still remember why you might feel that way. Imagine going into a horror movie and leaving angrily because it scared you. Many people online these days feel as if they have to have an opinion on every piece of new entertainment, often trying to make a point based on something they either don't understand or wasn't made for them in the first place, which can make them sound confidently ignorant. Personally, I'm not a fan of romantic comedies or RPGs, but I don't talk about them very often because I recognize that they're just not for me. Many people seem to have forgotten that different genres are going to have different appeal, and that sometimes things are made with a certain demographic in mind, such as age, race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, or even just simple interest. This doesn't mean that you aren't capable of enjoying or understanding a piece of entertainment, even if you're not a part of the demographic, but it's important to remember that might be the reason why it didn't click with you. That doesn't make the product bad, and it doesn't invalidate your opinion either. But should you really be commenting on something you just might not get? Probably not. I can't stop you from posting whatever you like online. I'm not even real to begin with. Hey, wait. What happens to me when the video ends? Hey everybody, it's Soshi the Sushi Mouse again. Today, you see a lot of people pray for the downfall of some entertainment. I think that's sad, because if you don't like something, why waste so much energy and time hoping it gets tarnished when you could focus on the things that you do like? Positivity will always beat negativity. But this brings up a good question. What makes something a flop? While entertainment gets their support financially, there are other factors that can determine whether or not something did well, like the box office for movies, views for internet content, ratings for TV, and more. But generally, it's more dependent on what the studio and the executives expect of it. Products typically need to make double the budget or money put into it to be considered successful, but there are some cases where that's not enough for executives. What do they expect? Not only is it a case-by-case scenario, but in some cases, we just may never know. But here are some things that definitely don't determine a flop. 1. It stops trending on Twitter. Twitter isn't the real world. Just because you don't hear people making constant posts about something doesn't mean it failed. Everybody's always trying new things. You can't expect people to dedicate their lives to something just to prove you wrong. 2. People stop talking about it on Twitch or YouTube. Same with the Twitter one. Just because people stop playing a video game or talking about a new show online doesn't mean it failed. Does someone trying something else take away the purchase they made prior? Of course not. 3. The player base drops. This one is exclusively to video games. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of people put a lot of weight on active player bases and thinking a game flopped because that number went down significantly after launch. Here's the thing, that's completely normal and happens to every video game. Every video game's player base is at its biggest when it launches. Seeing it drop soon after is completely normal. The only time you should be looking at an active player base is when it comes to live service titles because they need people constantly playing to keep it alive. But even then, it's normal when a player base drops after launch. Remember, just because something you don't like exists doesn't mean you should let it define you. Focus on the things you do like instead of constantly preying on a downfall. Everybody, it's Soshi the Sushi Mouse again. Negativity sells, which is a shame because sometimes it can bring the worst out of people, but it actually makes sense. Let's take the news for example. Why do news stations rely on negative stories so much? Well, let's say something good happened. A law passed to protect the people. We'll be happy and celebrate, but there's no need to do anything else because we're satisfied. But negativity gets people talking, and because there's an ongoing issue, we are going to keep making noise and pay attention until things change for the better. But sometimes media and entertainment rely on that. There's no such thing as bad publicity when it comes to something that relies on views and money. If there's something that you feel as if isn't worth supporting, the best thing to do is to vote with your wallet and ignore it. Give it no attention online, because it only spreads it around to more people, and many could hate watch it. Hate watching something is similar to when people say they only like something ironically, as they seem to think that doesn't count as support. Even if it's not for the reasons that were intended, you still found enjoyment in something. You can't ironically be happy. And saying you only like something ironically shows that you're afraid of judgment from others for liking something. Unless you pirate the media or get a used copy from a resale store, your money and views are still supporting the product. Just because you call it hate watching doesn't erase the money you put into it from existence. It's not like corporations separate their earnings between two piles and burn one of them just because they found out it was from hate watching or watching ironically. It's still added to the rest. So please, remember to vote with your wallet and zip that lip when it comes to entertainment that doesn't deserve your support. And instead, focus on things you do think deserve that attention and support them along the way. Because even if it doesn't help your YouTube review get as many views, you should at least take into consideration the greater good.